Have you ever played an MMO? Now, I'll be honest, I haven't, or at least not past the first 5 hours or so. Now, it's not that I've actively avoided playing these games, I've just always been a little bit wary of getting sucked into one, which I know is a bit rich from the guy who's put hundreds of hours into both Oblivion and then Skyrim. My point, though, is that MMOs have had a lot of bad press over the years, in particular World of Warcraft. Be it news stories about addiction, Facebook groups, or wonderfully funny episodes of South Park.
You can just hang outside in the sun all day tossing a ball around. Or you can sit at your computer and do something that matters.
But are they actually this potentially life-crippling force? And with likely millions of people right now jumping into another MMO experience in the form of the Elder Scrolls Online, now seems like the ideal time to investigate.
I think the reason why people perceive MMOs to have a negative influence is often that they are primarily violence-based. Most of the problems that the games present you with are solved by killing your enemies. Secondly, they can occupy a disproportionate amount of people's time. It's hardly surprising that something which is enjoyable can come to take over much of your life. I don't think MMOs are distinct from any other activity like that. I don't think necessarily the outcomes of spending a lot of time in a virtual environment are inherently harmful. It's always a question of what you're missing out on.
Now, we all know of people who spend a disproportionate amount of their time on some activity, not necessarily games. It could be working out at the gym, watching TV shows, or hell, even just browsing Facebook. But could games perhaps be predisposed towards this more than other activities?
Video games have many more opportunities to create environments, situations, reward structures, achievement structures, which are almost designed to make you want to continue playing. Now, that obviously has a positive side. We enjoy it, and to the extent that we can get positive experiences and outputs from video games, that's a good thing. But it also has a negative side in that it can come to preoccupy you. It can make you think about these things when you're not doing them, and to spend as much of your free time as you can doing them.
You must rescue me, and I, in turn, must rescue you.
So MMOs, I guess, are a bit of a double-edged sword. On one hand, the things that make them fun are also the things that engross and hook you in and perhaps encourage you to play more than you should. But what about some straight-up positive reasons to play MMOs? Do they exist beyond just the fun gameplay experience?
There are some very interesting potential positive outputs of playing an MMO. What online environments and MMOs offer is an environment where you can engage in social interactions with people, first of all, who you've never met before, but secondly, MMOs can offer a way of interacting in an interesting way with people that you know and love without actually having to travel a long distance to meet them. Another key aspect of MMOs is that generally some of the greatest challenges in the game cannot be accomplished alone. So there is an inherent way in which teamwork is required. People can duck into or out of this as they wish, but a majority of players at some point will engage in a team-based activity where they'll all play a particular role, and if they play the role well, then they can accomplish the activity. If they don't play the role well, then they'll probably fail. We know that several organisations use cooperation in MMOs to actually train people in leadership and teamwork.
Okay, but working together with friends or strangers online in an MMO, be it plundering caves, taking down bosses, or just exploring the world, is not the same as hanging out in the real world. It's a different social dynamic. However, one advantage that the confines of an MMO, like World of Warcraft or the Elder Scrolls Online, gives you, Mark argues, is control over who you are.
When we encounter each other in the real world, there are lots of things that we're not in control of. We're not in control of the way we look, and we're not in control of the way we sound. Now, arguably, these are not the real you. These are not the facets of your personality that actually matter, but they have a profound influence on the sorts of interactions we have. We know that the appearance of an avatar in an MMO will actually affect your responses to it, but the key things are that you're in charge of that. You can decide how you look. That's something you're not offered in the real world. The real world, in some sense, is very impoverished because you cannot present who you really are without people making judgments before you get within 10 feet of them.
Now, character customization doesn't just stop at hair, skin color, facial structure, and so on. MMOs also give you control over gender. And this can also have a potentially positive impact on gender selection and gender representation in games. Somewhat of a hot topic in this industry, to say the least.
I think many video games are still based around a male protagonist. So it's not to say that this is a problem or an issue that's been universally solved. But I think within MMOs, it has pretty much always been the case that you have complete freedom of choice. Regardless of the sex of your character, your abilities, your status, your standing were completely equal. There's something called the Lara phenomenon, which arises from the Tomb Raider games with Lara Croft, who is a strong female lead character. It's been suggested that the availability of strong female characters, and of course these are almost always available within MMOs, attracts women to gaming. They can explore what it's like to be a powerful, independent individual in a particular environment.
Well, I think from chatting to Mark, it's clear that while MMOs certainly have the potential to suck people in and compel them to spend a lot of time in those worlds they create, there's also lots of social and self-fulfilling benefits too.
I think MMOs can redress some of the challenges we face in the 21st century. If we see and learn that making social links with people, that talking to strangers isn't nearly as scary or as threatening as we might be led to believe, then that can make a positive difference. I think they can offer us environments where our endeavours are rewarded, and I think that can build resilience. If we see and learn that keeping going is a value, then we can apply that in the real world.
So you've heard from Mark and from me, but what do you guys think about MMOs? Do you play them? Have you ever got sucked in? And would you like to see Reality Check do an episode focused entirely on video game addiction? Let me know your thoughts. Last week on Reality Check, I explored a new piece of research which suggested that playing video games could actually improve your overall social life. Now there were some great comments, like this one from AbsBL, who said, "I honestly believe that online games like World of Warcraft help me boost my confidence when meeting new people, as well as develop a thicker skin when it comes to dealing with criticism." On the other hand, Spybeck commented, "Like I said when this study was reported by gaming news sites, this isn't a big enough pool. It depends on the genre chosen, and of course MMOs are going to show more social trends because that's the point of MMOs and LAN parties. It's like the equivalent of studying athletes and then looking just at golf players." Plus, I got some more great suggestions for future episodes of the show, which I'm adding to the list. Like this one from Andrew Iceshard, who suggested, "Try making a video on flying cars or levitation." And this other one from NatureAltAF, who said, "You should really do Reality Check on cloud-based gaming." To get in touch and let me know what you think, just leave me a comment in the box down below on GameSpot or YouTube, or hit me up on Twitter at CamFrazRob. See you next week, guys.